Welcome to A Call to Action, a series presented by Great Eastern Radio and Brattleboro Community Television. We're covering many different topics from how to get food to people to mental health through a crisis. Today, we're talking with Paula Fleming. She is the Chief Marketing and Sales Officer with the Better Business Bureau. And, well, first of all, thank you for coming on A Call to Action.
Thank you for having me. I appreciate it.
So, unfortunately, we have to have this conversation, and it disheartens me to no end. People are taking advantage of a COVID-19 pandemic, and they are scamming people. So we thought it was a good time to bring somebody like you on who can speak to that and how to avoid that and things we could do. Let's start with what you're seeing.
Sure. Well, the Better Business Bureau is warning that scammers are coming out of the woodwork to exploit the coronavirus crisis to steal money and confidential information from consumers and also businesses.
Okay, so and what's the number one thing that people may have been seeing in their in baskets?
Across North America, Canada, and Mexico, believe it or not, we have had consumers via our bbb.org/scam tracker fall victim to scams surrounding phony treatments and cures that could be dangerous, actually. And the FDA, FTC, and Department of Justice have landed on companies and websites marketing these. So although we are not a government agency, we are working with government agencies to make sure that we are all on the same page to end all of these scams and educate consumers that there is no treatment, no cure at this point in time. So not to click a link or order any items that have false promises.
Okay. Can you cite a few examples? Do you know any off the top of your head?
I do, unfortunately. I just had this morning someone call me that they ordered what they believe to be oils that could help when they are out in the supermarket to protect them. They were never approved, and it's important that they paid less than $100, but that's still $100 that's wasted. So it's false advertisement, false claims, and this was from a New England resident.
Okay. All right. And businesses, are they falling prey to a lot of these scammers?
They are calls to businesses purportedly from government unemployment offices asking for confidential information about their employees. That is one we're hearing a lot about. Also, the government agencies are not going to call these businesses and harass them, for lack of a better word. That's what we're hearing from these businesses, to give confidential information. And that's not factual, and it's not transpiring. And a lot of small businesses are just trying to keep their doors open or their websites running, for that matter, and stay afloat. So it's horrible that these scam artists are coming out of the woodwork for both the general population, but also for these small businesses that are trying to get through this time.
Now, I think that my next question is maybe an obvious one, maybe it's not.
Mhm.
When we're talking about so if you receive an email or a phone call, what are you telling? How are you telling people to handle these things? And again, I think that the information is good for both the individual and the business. So, what's the advice that you're asking people to follow that protocol when somebody calls you that maybe never called you before? What are you asking them to do?
Well, we're telling people not to click on links or attachments in emails, text messages, or social media messages unless you're sure they are legitimate. Don't assume that they are because they appear to come from a friend. So the best source here, the best practice is to go directly to the government website in which you're trying to get information. So if it's the Small Business Administration, go right to them. You can go to bbb.org. All the links are factual. They are reliable information. Don't just click on social media posts. Don't just click on a text message you receive. If it looks legitimate, doesn't necessarily mean it is. So just get off of your device. Don't go with fear. Make sure you make knowledgeable and calm decisions during this crisis.
Okay. So once again, be the one who generates the phone call or the
Yes.
messaging.
Yes. Go directly to the source. Don't, any incoming phone calls, you can block them, that are obviously clearly fraudulent. There's no government stimulus check that is going to warrant a text message or a social media post that you feel, oh, I have to fill out my financial information. That's not transpiring currently. So we want to make sure that people are protecting themselves during this crisis as best possible. And that's why we're providing this information.
And I fully suspect with the onset of everybody receiving their $1,200 stimulus check, that these scams will increase over time and not decrease as people try to grab this information. And what have you guys been preparing for the rollout of how to deal with these? And again, with the understanding that you're the Better Business Bureau, you're not but you are the folks who kind of might be at the front lines to help.
Yes. So first, to your first point, we have already received over 5,000 scam reports via our scam tracker. That's significant in the last, I would say, 3 weeks or so. And those are ranging already from the face masks to the oils I mentioned to these stimulus checks. So have already started to see them in regards to the relief checks, and that is again where we are saying the scams are going to continue, and that's why we're trying to meet people where they're at and get them educated. No payment or personal information is going to be required to receive a recovery check, and that's something that we're hearing. So the IRS has your tax information and will mail the check directly to you, or use the direct deposit information they have already from the previous year tax return. So that's a really clear statement right there. If you receive your Social Security and typically do not file a tax return, you will no longer need to file a simple tax return. You can get more details on that on irs.gov/coronavirus. So anything factual can be found there. So unfortunately, we can't get to every person, but we're really trying to get people to understand they don't have to provide a small fee to get this check. They don't have to answer a phone call and provide their banking routing number. These are not real. These are scam artists trying to gather your information and data, financial and personal.
Right. And again, just to reiterate what Paula is saying, you must initiate the phone call. Nobody will call you about your stimulus check. If you are curious, you call them.
Correct. And that is exactly right. If you get a text, phone call, or email asking you for personal information, simply do not respond.
Or the old adage, don't call us, we'll call you.
We'll call you. Yeah.
Right? Okay.
Right on point.
What else is the Better Business Bureau doing to assist some businesses through this whole crisis?
Well, we report on 1,000 in New England alone, over 400,000 small businesses. So we have bbb.org /small business. That is a page dedicated with resources trying to help guide these small businesses in the U.S. We have a toolkit that we've prepared answering some questions, and even as an employer, what are you expected to do, or how do you work through this if you have to do layoffs? What are the rules and guidelines set by your state? So there's a lot of great information there. We really want to support small businesses during this time. The numbers are staggering of businesses that have already closed because of this, and we want to stop that from continuing to escalate.
All right. Now, has the Better Business Bureau been doing anything? Let's say, I mean, we all know that we'll eventually pull through this. We just don't have it. We don't have a timeline. That's the unfortunate thing. And we as Americans, we do love our timelines, but unfortunately, we don't have one right now. But have you guys been proactively thinking, okay, this will end, and when it does, we are going to do X, Y, and Z? Do you, as the Better Business Bureau, do you have any strategic planning going into place right now?
We have begun our research to put that together, and that is definitely something that we are looking at from the overall aspect of businesses getting back up and running to supporting our member or businesses. We have over 9,000 in the 4 states that we cover. So we are looking at that. I will be honest with you and say it's at the beginning stages because we have been so busy trying to gather the information as it changes day in and day out. Just working alongside with the different government agencies to make sure it's factual and on point, as well as updating our profiles that we give to the public because people are still making purchases online.
Mhm.
And it's our job to deliver factual information. And we report on over 300,000 businesses in our community locally. So that has been, it's been time consuming and doesn't allow um, us to make sure that we can get to that next step aspect. But we have started to do that. It's my hope that we'll get there within the near future.
All right, great. Paula, anything else that we might be leaving out here that you'd like to throw in?
I would just state that the best advice is not to use, I would say my best advice personally is that the coronavirus is here. It's causing a lot of stress for people, for small business owners. We're here to help. We've been around for over 100 years. All our information is online at bbb.org.
Okay. Paula, thank you for jumping on a
Thank
call
you
to
so
action
much.
with us.
Yeah, no problem. Thank you.
All right, take
Bye.
care.